Scene 1. The fall of Napoleon's empire. Napoleon Bonaparte stood in his grand palace, pondering the battlefield's dire situation. His empire, once mighty, was crumbling under the weight of Europe's combined forces. The Sixth Coalition had come together, uniting Britain, Russia, Prussia, Spain, Sweden, and several German states. Scene 2. The gathering of forces. In a cold Russian winter camp, Tsar Alexander I gave an impassioned speech to his troops. "This war will be the end of Napoleon's tyranny," he declared, rallying the soldiers. Across Europe, leaders from Prussia and Britain gathered, forming a united front against the French. Scene 3. The Battle of Leipzig begins. The deafening sounds of drums and cannons filled the air as the Battle of Leipzig, also known as the Battle of Nations, began. Napoleon's army, though fewer in number, was fiercely determined. On the opposite side, a massive coalition army advanced, each nation's flag fluttering proudly. Scene 4. The turning tide. Napoleon watched in disbelief as his forces began to falter at Leipzig. His soldiers, once unstoppable, were overwhelmed by sheer numbers. The Russian and Prussian troops pushed forward, their discipline unmatched. The French cavalry was no match for the massed Allied formations. Scene 5. The retreat from Germany. Napoleon's army limped away from the smoldering remains of Leipzig, retreating through the devastated landscape of Germany. The French soldiers, exhausted and demoralized, trudged through the snow. Napoleon paced restlessly within his command tent, his mind racing for a way to salvage his empire. Scene 6. The entry of the Allies into Paris. As Napoleon's retreat continued, the coalition armies pushed forward, closing in on Paris. Tsar Alexander and the Duke of Wellington led their troops, the French capital looming on the horizon. Parisians watched in fear and anticipation as foreign soldiers marched through their streets. Scene 7. Napoleon's abdication. The news of Paris's surrender reached Napoleon in his military headquarters. He paced furiously, knowing that his reign was coming to an end. "I am not beaten. My soldiers will never surrender," he muttered to himself. But the reality was undeniable. He had lost his empire. Scene 8. The Treaty of Fontainebleau. With Napoleon's abdication came the Treaty of Fontainebleau, which exiled him to the island of Elba. The terms of the treaty were harsh, but it ensured a measure of stability for France. The Allies had won, but the future of Europe was still uncertain. The monarchy in France was restored under Louis XVI. Scene 9. Napoleon on Elba. Exiled on the small island of Elba, Napoleon adjusted to his new life as a ruler of a tiny kingdom. Despite his defeat, his mind remained sharp, and his ambitions burned brightly. He governed the island as he had once ruled France, reorganizing its administration and military. Scene 10. The 100 days Napoleon's time on Elba was short-lived. In 1815, he escaped, returning to France with a small band of followers. The people greeted him with a mix of excitement and fear. His return marked the beginning of the 100 days, a final desperate attempt to reclaim his empire. Scene 11. The Battle of Waterloo. Napoleon's last stand came at the Battle of Waterloo in June 1815. His forces, though motivated, were outnumbered by the combined British, Dutch, and Prussian armies. The battlefield was chaotic, with artillery fire, cavalry charges, and infantry clashing. Napoleon commanded his forces with precision. Scene 12. The fall of Napoleon. After the defeat at Waterloo, Napoleon's fate was sealed. The emperor surrendered to the British, hoping for mercy. He was taken aboard a ship bound for the remote island of St. Helena, where he would live out the remainder of his days in exile. The once great ruler of Europe was now a prisoner. Scene 13. The Congress of Vienna. With Napoleon's defeat, the European powers convened at the Congress of Vienna to reshape the continent's future. Diplomats from Britain, Austria, Prussia, and Russia gathered to negotiate borders, alliances, and power structures. The goals were clear: prevent another Napoleon from rising. Scene 14. The restoration of the monarchy. In France, the Bourbon monarchy was restored, with Louis XVI assuming the throne. The restoration was not without tension, as many still remembered the upheaval of the revolution and Napoleon's rule. The French people were divided. Some supported the monarchy, while others longed for the glory days of the empire. Scene 15. Prussia's rise. The defeat of Napoleon marked the beginning of Prussia's rise as a major European power. Under the leadership of Chancellor Otto von Bismarck, Prussia began to reorganize and strengthen its military. The lessons learned from the Napoleonic Wars shaped Prussia's approach to diplomacy and warfare. Scene 16. The decline of the Spanish Empire. In Spain, the war had taken a heavy toll. Napoleon's occupation, combined with the brutal campaigns of the Peninsular War, left the country in ruins. The once powerful Spanish Empire began its slow decline. The loss of its colonies in the Americas further weakened Spain's global influence. If you like it, please like and subscribe to the channel to receive all that is new.